All right, checking in at number 8 on our tight end rankings heading into the 2024 season is none other than Luke Lachey from Iowa, who's probably going to be one of the top tight ends in the 2025 NFL draft. Why do you think that? Why do you think he's going to be such a coveted prospect, and what makes him so special in your opinion?
Well, first of all, he's a tight end from Iowa, and that always plays, right? But you can see, but honestly, you can see all the same traits that make all the great Iowa tight ends great. He's really physical. He's got really good hands. I think the big thing for me is he's just a competitor, man. You see him running through 2, 3, 4 guys at times to after the catch to get in the end zone and things like that. He just has that. It's weird to say because it's kind of a joke, but like not really. He's got that Iowa tight end thing about him. That Kittle and Laporta and all these other guys with Eric All. We've seen all of these guys have it, but an excellent receiver though, a 77.7 receiving grade in 2022. Last year was off to a big start before he got hurt in the third game. 10 catches for 131 yards in his first 2 games, and he was looking really, really efficient last year in the lead role, right? 2.26 yards per route run through his first 2 games would have been 6th in the country at the end of the year if he had qualified. And I don't see any reason to believe that he wouldn't have kept that up for an entire season between the target share and his talent, especially in that offense, that he was on his way to being a big-time player in 23, and it's a shame. We have several tight ends in our top 10 who are coming off injuries, and Lachey is one of them. It's a shame that we didn't get to see him for a whole year as the lead dog in that tight end room, but we're going to see it this year, and I would fully expect him to bounce back from the injury and have a big-time year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was really good in 2022 as kind of the backup to Sam Laporta in that year. And obviously, we mentioned before how Iowa just got this dynasty, man. You mentioned it with George Kittle, TJ Hockenson, Noah Fant, Sam Laporta. I mean, Luke Lachey next in line, man. I think he's going to be another day 2 pick that they're going to have at tight end, and probably another starting tight end in the NFL they're going to have as well. Despite being the number 2 tight end for Iowa in 2022, he was still 12th in the Power 5 with a 77.7 receiving grade and 14th in the Power 5 with 22 catches that went for a first down or a touchdown. And again, as a backup tight end, he was one of the 20 most valuable tight ends in the country, according to our wins above average metric. So he was really, really good as a backup for Iowa, and so many of us were so excited to see him as kind of the lead guy with Eric All at Iowa last year. The problem was they both got hurt. I mean, he ended the season after 3 games with an ankle injury. He's an elite athlete though. I think he scored in the 98th percentile for tight ends in our GAS metric, which is game athleticism score, measures your speed, quickness, agility, change of direction, everything. So he's a really good athlete, really good hands as well. He has a 5% drop rate over the last 2 years. So I'm a big fan of Luke Lachey, man. And I'm expecting some big things from him as Iowa's number 1 tight end in 2024. What are some of the negatives, though, with Luke Lachey? What are some things that he can clean up a little bit, in your opinion?
I honestly really think we just have to see him do it in the lead role and coming off an injury. And I think the biggest negative for me, why I ranked him a little lower on this list personally, was just his situation there at Iowa and how much statistical production is going to come out of, it's well documented that Iowa was one of the worst offenses in the country last year. How much can he really make out of that situation, right? It's been steadily declining at Iowa in recent years, but I think he's got the full package. Honestly, he can block. He's a really good receiver. We just have to see him do it. It's kind of that same thing I say with weapons all the time, where do it when everyone knows it's coming. And he started to show that at the beginning of last year. He's reliable. He's a great athlete. He's a good blocker. He's competitive as hell. He's really, really physical, especially after the catch. He wants to run people over. I don't see a ton of holes in Lachey's game other than just him getting the opportunity and being healthy in that offense to succeed and put up a big year, maybe even a John Mackey type year where it's like, okay, this guy's an elite tight end. We just didn't get to see it. The one time we really did get to see it, consider the end of 2022, he may have been one of the 5 best tight ends in the country. And they already had Sam Laporta on that team. He was a dynamic player in the making before this injury. So I just think he has to be healthy, and he's going to have to just overcome Iowa's deficiencies on offense.
Yeah, that's really the big thing, right? It's that he's got to be healthy. I mean, it's a guy who we all think has unbelievable potential. It's just the problem is he just hasn't really shown it as a full-time starter yet. Now, of course, we mentioned before he did it as a backup for Iowa in 2022, but now we haven't really seen more than just 3 games from him this past season. So bouncing back from the injury. Hopefully keeps that athleticism as well. So I think that's a big thing. I was a little bit disappointed by his run blocking. I thought it was going to be a lot better when I turned on the tape. He graded out, as a 50.2 run blocker over the last 2 years. It was like 150th in the country out of like 210 tight ends. So I think he get a little bit better as a run blocker, but he is used more in line than other guys on this list. So I think that is why there is a little bit more there as a run blocker than maybe some of the other guys on this list, but I think there's still room to get better for him at the next level. So that's what we've got for Luke Lachey, our number 8 tight end in college football heading into the 2024 season.